40 years ago, your father famously took a walk in the snow when the Conservatives were up in the polls and decided it was time to give it up. It's snowing out there now.
When my father was my age, he still had a dozen years of prime ministering ahead of him.
Oh my God. Another dozen years?
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Ladies and gents, welcome back. Before we get into this video, I want to thank everyone for tuning in 2024. It's been an amazing year for many reasons, positive and negative. It's been all over the place, and we look forward to moving into 2025. This will be the last video of 2024, but we'll be doing a special live stream this evening. That's right. We got special guests. Gov.exe is corrupt. We have Alex Zoltan, familiar names, and Bratney all joining us this evening for a special live, kind of a countdown. We will be live while it's turning midnight in certain provinces, but not all the way till the West Coast hits it. No. So tune in at about 6:30 Pacific time, 9:30 Eastern to catch that. But let's get into the video. Justin Trudeau, of course, Kristen Raworth putting this out there. Wait. I'm sorry, Justin Trudeau canceled all year-end interviews with news outlets, but did 22 minutes? My lord. Yeah, of course. Mark Critch from 22 Minutes posting this on X. I'm joined by Justin Trudeau for a look back on 2024. We talk about taking a walk in the snow, Trump at Mar-a-Lago, and yes, even those flags. Yeah, those flags. But of course, as always, it's a classic. We've got you on CBC. You pay us billions of dollars a year, and where it's going to be a softball. Of course, that's just the way it is. But people can dream. This is AI has been helping out with that. Thank you, Ryan Garrettson, for putting this one out there. That's fantastic. But the people who are dreaming the most, I think, here are, well, just Justin Trudeau himself putting out what appears to be a campaign ad. It's crazy.
2025 is just around the corner, and that means that we're almost in an election year. Our Liberal plan has been investing in you.
Yeah, it's investing in you. How well has that been going for you? Tokyo Rosie saying, just when you think Trudeau is gone for good, he puts out a statement about how he's the only one who can lead Canada. It's like waking up in a cold sweat from a nightmare only to realize you're still in a nightmare. Freddy Krueger's got nothing on this guy. God help us all. That's where we're at. But it looks like it's, I mean, before we start putting it's over in the thumbnails or things like that, let's look at it. The situation's pretty bad for Justin Trudeau. And it's bad for him because his own Liberal caucus wants rid of him. And it's province after province is coming on board with this. Now, we've talked about this before in the show that, you know, if he steps down, it's only doing a favor to his Liberal colleagues. And we'll get into that. But here we go. Jennifer Wu putting on Twitter, the third group of the LPC that wants Trudeau to go after the Atlantic and Ontario called for his removal earlier. Quebec caucus calls for Trudeau to resign. A consensus was reached and the Prime Minister needs to step down. This is an article here from iPolitics. A consensus was reached and the Prime Minister needs to step down, and caucus chair Stéphane Lauzon had been instructed to inform Trudeau of this decision, the MP said. Of course, this is par for the course. It's happening all over the place. Gov.exe is corrupt, saying Justin Trudeau has no intention of resigning. He had rather shut down Parliament down for months than admit defeat. Good news is there will be an election in 2025, and Justin Trudeau Liberals will be eviscerated. That's exactly it.
Calgary Liberal MP George Chahal has joined public calls for change, publishing a letter that doesn't mince words about how he's had enough of Trudeau's leadership. Mackenzie Gray joins us now from Ottawa. Mackenzie, what's Chahal saying?
Well, he is absolutely eviscerating the Prime Minister, Anne, in a letter Chahal sent to his caucus colleagues that he is now sharing publicly. Any rational individual in a position of leadership would resign, Chahal said, Any group of individuals providing advice based on data and logic would reach the same conclusion. Unfortunately, a small cabal have decided to pursue a reckless strategy of mutually assured political destruction, leading to one of the most pointed calls from a Liberal parliamentarian yet. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau no longer has the support of caucus, and to maintain some dignity, he should immediately tender his resignation.
Wow, we're talking about small cabals. You want to look for that small cabal? Here it is. It's in the Liberal Party. Table Salt putting it out there. Ontario federal Liberal MPs panic as they are about to lose their pensions. That's right. We all heard about the legislation put forward to put the election out by a week so that these people would all be eligible for their pensions. Now that was kiboshed, it's not going to happen. They have to win the next election in order to be eligible for those pensions. So they're looking at it, practically. They won't win the election if Justin Trudeau is at the helm. I don't know if that's going to save them by getting rid of Justin Trudeau, but there is a lot of MPs. 50 Liberal MPs of Parliament held a call this weekend and agreed Trudeau had to step down. This is just from Ontario alone. There are more. According to polling, 60 out of 75 Ontario Liberal MPs will be fired. Many to lose their pensions. Fired in an election. They're not going to get fired by Justin Trudeau. They're not going to get fired. They're going to get fired by the voter. And this is the reality of the situation for these people. But, and this is the interesting part out there, is that the CBC propaganda is still working. It's still working on some people out there. And DImani putting this out there on Twitter. He's a channel who goes out and interviews people on the street. Now, we get all kinds of reactions when he asks about Trudeau, but some people are still drinking that Kool-Aid. It's unbelievable.
Who will you be voting for in 2025?
Justin Trudeau.
What's your take with the way things are going on in our country?
I think they're pretty fair. I think people sort of cry wolf sometimes, but I don't think things are too bad. Yeah.
Well, what's your take on inflation?
Well, everything's gone up everywhere. It's hard to justify the price of homes now and the price of a car and all that. But it seems like the wages have gone up a bit too.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, some people are just completely out to lunch. It's unbelievable. But what do you do? What do you do when you've been propagandized by the CBC, CTV Global, all of these news organizations, and you don't leave your bubble? Is that Victoria? I mean, that might be an answer to the question right there. But the real situation on the ground, it looks a little different. Now, amazingly, Pierre Poilievre was interviewed recently, and this is a great one. Dr. Ellie David putting it out there. The have your melee effect in action, Pierre Poilievre. You classically ask a CBC question. This is a great response to a question when the CBC is trying to elicit a particular response, but you don't get it because we see Pierre Poilievre moving towards the center and moving towards essentially and ostensibly what people want.
Ethel Musa with CBC News. And Mr. Poilievre, if you could also answer this question in French as well as English. The government is coming out with a $1.3 billion plan to address border security. Do you think that's enough to stop Trump's tariffs? And if it was up to you, how much specifically would you spend on border security? What number would you put on it?
Well, you ask a classically CBC question, which is how much money can you spend on a problem? Well, that's the wrong question. That's exactly the question Trudeau has been asking for 9 years. It's the reason he's doubled our debt while making everything worse. For example, he spent $80 billion on housing affordability. Well, how'd that work? He doubled housing costs. He spent $60 million on his gun confiscation. 0 guns. He spent millions on a school food program that hasn't served a single solitary meal. So we should not judge a program based on how expensive we can make it. We should judge it by what it can do.
Absolutely. I'll even link in the description where you can check out the rest of his answer, where he goes into how he would make things work and how it's actually it's practical management of a thing, not just throwing money at issues. But this is where we've gone so far in Canada. And I'd love to leave the question with you. Where do you think we're going to go in 2025? If you want to answer in the comments down below or answer in the live stream this evening, check us out, 6:30 Pacific time or 9:30 Eastern. We'll be going, I think, right into midnight for those Eastern viewers. So it'd be a fun, a fun end of year live stream. And don't forget, we will still be doing a Marty and Clyde show live Wednesday. That'll be the first one of the year. So tune in for that. Looking forward to it. We'll see you then. Everybody, keep on trucking.